Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Fred Stennis, Supervisor for the Awareness and Outreach Team here at Federal Student Aid. I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for registering and joining in today's special webinar entitled Getting Started with the StudentAid.gov account. But before we get started, please take a note of the following disclaimer. Information presented today is on background and not for direct attribution. For comment about the information presented today, please contact press@ed.gov. That's press@ed.gov. Now, for a few housekeeping notes. If you have questions about any of the content discussed during today's premiere, we have live representatives on standby in the chat. The recording of today's presentation will be available within 24 hours on this YouTube channel. You can also request a PDF version of the PowerPoint slides in the description below. Now that we've taken care of the logistics, let's begin. Today's presenters will be none other than Mr. Isaiah Ellis, Outreach Specialist representing Federal Student Aid Product Management Group. At this time, let's begin. Isaiah, take it away.
Thanks, Fred, and thank you all for joining us to find out information as you get started with the StudentAid.gov account. Now, several things that we will talk about today is how to create a StudentAid.gov account, what you should know if you have one, as well as if you're going through this process for the very first time. This is really geared toward you. Now, if you also do not have a Social Security number as a parent contributor, we will have information on that. We will also cover information that will test your knowledge on our knowledge check, as well as provide additional resources for you, the student, parent or guardian, or contributor. Let's start out with what is a StudentAid.gov account. Well, this is an account where you'll leverage to apply for, receive, and manage the federal financial aid that you do receive. Now, it's also a site you as a contributor can use to access the FAFSA form, to electronically sign the FAFSA form, or if you're the student receiving federal financial aid, you can also visit this site to manage your federal financial aid. When we state federal financial aid, we mean the Federal Student Loan Program. If you're a recipient of the Federal Pell Grant or SEOG Grant, which is Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, or other additional aid that is granted to you from the United States Department of Education. Keep this in mind. This is for federal financial aid. This will be able to allow you to track what you're receiving while you're in school. And when you're out of school, it'll also track how much you received to date or how much did you borrow to this point, as well as provide additional resources that would help you manage your student loans as you enter into repayment. Now, one thing that you should know about the StudentAid.gov is that everyone should have their own unique StudentAid.gov account. This allows a person to be able to electronically sign on the behalf of the student if they're a parent, or a student for themselves as a contributor. Each individual is responsible for having their own unique StudentAid.gov account. You can't share this with anyone else. It is your unique account. Now, several questions that we do receive, especially as it surrounds creating a StudentAid.gov account, is do you really need one in order to access the FAFSA online? The key in that sentence is FAFSA online. And yes, you will need to have your own unique StudentAid.gov account in order to access the FAFSA online. Now, most situations, if a student parent were married at the time which you filed, then the both parents, if they filed jointly, only one parent needs to be identified as a contributor. So that's in the case where the parents are married and they have filed jointly. If they filed separately, each parent typically is going to need their own unique StudentAid.gov account. But again, if the parents are married and they filed their tax filing status is married filing jointly, then only one contributor will need to provide information on the student's FAFSA form. Now, as you enter information on the FAFSA form, that information is then sent to the Social Security Administration to be verified. Once it has been verified, typically around 3 days, you'll be able to go into the FAFSA form and be able to see the information pre-populated onto the FAFSA form. Now, when it comes to creating a StudentAid.gov account, if you do not have one already, you can visit StudentAid.gov, click in the upper right-hand corner, the little person icon. You're going to click that person icon and you'll see where you can create an account. If you created an account already and just forgot your password, you can go ahead and retrieve your password by following a series of steps after going to that person icon, because you will, when you scroll down, be presented with the option to log in. And if you forgot your password, you can simply select forgot your password and follow the prompts from there. But it's always important, if you're creating this for the first time, to make sure that all of the information is clear and accurate. Because if it's not clear and accurate, and it can hold up or delay the process of creating a StudentAid.gov account. And it can also hold up the process of being verified through the Social Security Administration. So let's get started with step one, where we'll cover information about the personal information. And this is regards to the individual's full legal name as it appeared on the Social Security card, or through it can be verified through the Social Security Administration. We will also need the date of birth. Now, if you have one in regards to the Social Security number, we will need that as well. So it needs to match up with your date of birth and your legal name. So let's cover information on step two about the account information. But when you're creating a username and password, do not share this with anyone. Do not share your username with anyone. Do not share your password with anyone. Only provide your email address where your account information will be sent. So try to use an email address where you typically search, you typically review, and you have access to. So therefore, if we send you any notifications about information pertaining to the creation of your StudentAid.gov account, you can read it and respond in a timely manner. Now, once you have successfully created your username and you have successfully added your password, then you will be able to log in to StudentAid.gov account at that point. However, keep this in mind. There is an additional step along the process, and that's providing us your contact information, such as your mailing address, which could be foreign or domestic, or your phone number, as well as an alternate phone number just in case the first one is unable to be reached. Now, we will not communicate with you in regards to anything and everything as it pertains to the financial aid process. We provide timely updates as to when the FAFSA is going to be released and other things that you may have subscribed or selected to receive updates regarding. Keep this in mind as well, is that it's always good practice to update your contact information on an annual basis if it has changed. If it has not changed and you have the same email address since high school or elementary school, and you have the same phone number, then that information will still be on file at that time. And if you do see the opportunity to update information, we always suggest you do so when you have that information readily available. And at that point, you can also select the communication preferences if you prefer to receive information via email. If you prefer to receive information from text messages from us, we also allow for you to select your preferred language, so you can read the directions, and you can read the verbiage and the text in your preferred language. So we do have that option as it relates to the communication preferences as well. So moving on to step number 5, we will also have provided you challenge questions, similar to other sites where you come in and while you're creating the account, it's asking you, do you want to create several different challenge questions? Because if you lost your password, you have to answer these challenge questions correctly in order to get to the opportunity of resetting your passwords. The same approach here. So you select 3 questions that really pertain to you as the contributor creating this StudentAid.gov account, and you'll be able to put your answers to those challenge questions, your unique answers to those challenge questions. So if you do lose your password or your username, you can come back in and go through the series of prompts and be able to reset your password and be able to find your username as well. So keep that in mind as it relates to the challenge questions. These are in an event that you do lose your password, and it's for your account recovery. Keep that in mind as well. Now, lastly, we come to the point of, now we come to the point of confirming and verifying. When you look at all the information that you have placed already onto the form itself, we're asking you to look at the information and make sure everything is accurate. It's always good practice that once you get to the confirmation page and you have to confirm and verify everything that you have listed, just take one more second to look and see and make sure everything is accurate, because you don't want to create unnecessary delays along the process. So good practice to check, make sure everything is accurate, confirm, and then verify. Now, once you have done that, you can move on to step number 7, where you'll set up a 2-factor authentication. This is where you'll have a backup code that is auto-generated and sent to you, and so it is unique to you and your account. Make sure you keep your backup code in a safe and secure location. Keep this in mind when you're setting up the 2-step authentication. You're going to need if you need to send you an SMS, which is a standard text messaging verification. We'll have to make sure that you have an active number on file. That's why it's always important to have your contact information up to date. They send you an email verification to your email address. So I'm going to send it to the one that you have listed on file. So make sure that's also current. You can also utilize this step during an authenticator app. That's where you can download from either platform that you're currently using. You can download it from the application store, and they can you link it to your StudentAid.gov. So therefore, if in fact that you prefer to use an authentication app, you can leverage that as well. And if you select the backup code, as I stated again, you'll be auto-generated, and it's very unique to your account, and you want to make sure you keep that in a very safe and secure place. Now, moving on to create a StudentAid.gov account without a social security number, several things to be made aware of is that parents and other non-student contributors can use their StudentAid.gov account, but they can only use it to complete and sign their section of the FAFSA form. Now, students can use the StudentAid.gov account to complete and sign their section of the FAFSA form online with their verified StudentAid.gov account. Also, they can do additional activities on their account, but they just won't be able to perform all the functions on StudentAid.gov if they do not have a social security number or their social security number has not been verified. So it's always important to understand where you are and what other steps that you would need to do in order to get it verified in those particular situations. Now, let's walk through the steps. There's about 9 steps that we're going to walk through if you do not have a social security number. Number 1 is that you want to make sure that you're visiting the StudentAid.gov in the upper right-hand corner. When you get to the site, you're going to click the person icon, and then you'll be able to correct an account and select the option as we saw in the previous slides. You're going to provide your personal information, such as your name, your date of birth, and then under the text box, that's going to ask you for your social security number, but also you'll see a little checkbox you can select. What if I don't have a social security number? You just check the ones that says, I do not have a social security number, and then you're going to go ahead and proceed to continue. After you confirming that you didn't have a social security number, then you enter your account username and your password, similar to the experience of the other users. Once you get to past that step, then now you're going to enter your contact information, make sure all of that is accurate. You're going to make sure you provide your mailing address, whether it's foreign or domestic to the United States. Then you're going to select your communication preferences, create your challenge questions, and just verify the information that you have provided. Similar to other users, that's the experience that you can expect as you're navigating that particular process. Then you're going to get to the knowledge-based questions to verify your identity. Now, typically between 1 to 4 questions are generated. All of the answers that you're going to enter are unique to you as the contributor. And then when you select those questions, if none are generated, you just simply go to the next step. After you submit your questions, you'll see a confirmation page with the results of your identity verification. When you're going through this particular process, you'll be immediately able to access the FAFSA form by logging into StudentAid.gov with the username and the password that you've created. Now, that's if your identity can be verified. If it cannot be verified, then you're going to receive an email with instructions as to what the next steps will be. That's why it's important that when you're putting down that email address, that is an accurate email address and one that you continuously check. Now, after you have submitted the required documentation, if you have to submit any, and your identity is verified successfully, You will receive an email that confirms that everything has been set up, that the StudentAid.gov account is verified, and that you now can proceed on to submitting your FAFSA or your free application for federal student aid. So I know there's a gap in there where individual may say, hey, well, what if I'm in the process of creating a StudentAid.gov. I get all the way through it, and it says that I have to have to have my identity verified. Can I still complete the FAFSA form in between that time? Well, while your identity is being verified with us, you can still access the FAFSA form itself and begin to complete your required sections. So keep that in mind. Now, when it comes down to using your StudentAid.gov account, a couple different things to be made aware of. If you created your StudentAid.gov, your account dashboard, once you log in, if you're joining for the first time, you never received any federal financial aid, all of the information will be blank until funds have been dispersed to the school on your behalf. The way that we work here at the United States Department of Education and Office of Federal Student Aid is that once you complete the FAFSA form and you are enrolled in school, the school will verify your enrollment and verify the number of credits that you enrolled in. Once they go through that verification process, then they will let us know that this student is good to go. We will disperse the required funds to the school on your behalf. And then after that, you'll be able to see what has been dispersed on your behalf on your account dashboard. Keep this in mind as well. If you start your FAFSA form or you receive any information, then you'll also see that update on your StudentAid.gov as well. And you can also select the sections for more information in detail as it relates to that disbursement. Maybe you're looking into what the current interest rate for that disbursement of your federal student loans are. Maybe you're looking into see how much do you have left in terms of the aggregate amount for certain federal financial aid programs. So it just depends on what you're looking for and whether or not it's available on your account dashboard. But this is where you're going to go in order to review that information as you're navigating, matriculating through your education. A couple other things to be made aware of as well. When it comes to your status information, you will see in the upper right-hand corner, if you notice that there'll be a little red number 1, 2, or 3. That's where you can receive your notifications if we are sending you anything. And there's also a message center up there as well. Now, when you start a FAFSA form, keep this in mind. If you are a parent or a spouse contributor on a student's FAFSA form, your invitation will be mailed to you. So as a student is going through the process of completing the FAFSA form, and we identify them as a dependent student, which will require information regarding their regarding the contributor on their FAFSA form. They will have the opportunity to invite that contributor to provide information on the FAFSA form itself. Now, say for example, if the parent or the parent contributor does not receive that invitation, they can visit StudentAid.gov, sign in, and then proceed on to their account dashboard to go ahead and get started with providing information on the required sections. Again, it will show up in the My Activity section after the student invites you to participate on the form. Now, as the student is navigating through their FAFSA form itself under the My Activity, they will also be able to see a status tracker as it pertains to where their FAFSA is in the process. So if it's currently being processed, it was stated at this juncture, but also they'll be able to see who they invited as contributor, their status of their FAFSA, as well as the information that they have provided on the FAFSA form, such as there's colleges that they have listed, the career schools, and other trade schools as well, and universities, including in that as well. Other information they can see is their submission history as they matriculate to juniors and seniors. If they fill out a FAFSA form in previous years, they'll be able to see their status as well as the submission history. They'll also be able to review the submission summary, basically information that they already provided on the FAFSA form. They'll be able to go back to the section and to be able to review it as well. In addition, we do provide what they should know about next steps, whether or not they need to go back and complete and sign the FAFSA form. We'll let them know about that, or it's ready in processing. We're letting them know that once we have completed the processing, we'll send it out to that college, university, career, or trade school. Now, if there are any errors on the FAFSA form itself, and we'll be able to let you know that, hey, there's an error. We need it because you may have incorrect information. We may be missing signatures based upon that FAFSA form, or missing your consent and approval for the IRS to directly transfer information, the federal tax information. That was one of the new components in the last previous year. So when it comes down to providing consent and approval, every contributor is required to provide that consent and approval in order for their student to receive federal financial aid. So if we're missing consent and approval from a contributor, whether it's the student and or the parent, then we'll let the student know, hey, we need this consent and approval in order for you to receive federal financial aid. So I know that was a lot, but now we want to test your knowledge. So if you're joining us live, go ahead and open up the chat. And while you're opening up the chat, we just want to take a moment to ask you to like this video, also subscribe to our channel. This also helps us as we are creating new additional content, new additional sessions and webinars that fit various individuals on varying skill levels, whether you're joining us as a beginner, you're joining intermediate knowledge of the federal financial aid process, or you're more of our advanced users that's looking for a refresher or to see how if you can use this video for more of your outreach. Please go ahead and hit that bell for alerts of our new videos. Go ahead and like and subscribe to our videos as well here on our YouTube channel at FSA Outreach. So let's start out with testing your knowledge. Question 1, is this statement true or false? You can share your StudentAid.gov account with your parent so they can provide information on your FAFSA form. Okay, I see people are putting some things in the question. Okay. We'll give it a moment there. Wait for some more responses. So the statement in this case is false. Each person must have their own StudentAid.gov account because StudentAid.gov accounts cannot be shared. We saw that in our first few slides. That's when we started out and we were covering that everyone must have their own unique StudentAid.gov account. Okay. Now let's try another question for question number 2. How can you check the status of your FAFSA form? You want to call the Federal Student Aid Information Center. You want to go to the My Activity section on your StudentAid.gov account. You want to ask your parent or your guardian, or you want to contact the school that you applied to. Okay. I'll give you a little hint. If you're checking your FAFSA form for a school that you just applied to, they might not be able to answer your question right away. So the answer is B. You want to go to the My Activity section of your StudentAid.gov account, and you want to follow the steps to check your FAFSA form status. Log in with your username and password. Remember, this is after everything's been verified. You're going to visit your account dashboard. Now, when you look at your account dashboard, you're going to select your FAFSA form in the My Activity section. Okay. All right. Question number 3 is going to be a true or false question. So you can put the T's or the F's in the comments for false. Is this statement true or false? The best time to create your StudentAid.gov account is when you fill out the FAFSA form. Okay, so key on this, right? The best time to create your account is when you're filling out the form. I'm going to give you a hint. 3 days. So the answer is false. Now, although you may have created it right beforehand, it's always best to wait at least 3 days before you start your FAFSA form. Good practice. So if you already have in your mind, you're going to create it on the weekend. You want to start it on Tuesday, create your StudentAid.gov account on Tuesday, make sure everything is in place, because when you start the process of completing the FAFSA form, it's going to make things a lot easier. So those are the knowledge questions. And as promised, we could not leave you without additional resources to help you along the way. So here's a couple of things that we believe might be very useful for you. Number 1, visit StudentAid.gov, because it's not just a place you go to visit your account. It's also a place you can go to get a number of resources and information as it pertains to the FAFSA process, the kind of programs that we do provide for students. If you want to know more about just more about the federal financial aid process, as well as additional resources that are available to you, check out our articles, our blogs, our resources on StudentAid.gov account, and you can do so today. We're also on social media. We are on Instagram at Federal Student Aid. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn and X, which is also formerly known as Twitter. Now, we also have two different types of channels. We have our YouTube channel at Federal Student Aid that you could find information that if you're joining us as a college access or career professional, you can take that information and also use it as part of your outreach campaign. Or if you're joining us as a student or a parent, you can take that information and learn more about the process. We do have additional webinars and walkthroughs on our FSA Outreach YouTube channel, which you're joining us on right now. So please like, subscribe, and hit our alert button to receive updates as to when we release new additional resources. With that said, we thank you for taking time out of your schedule to help us guide you through what to know about creating a StudentAid.gov account. Thank you and have a good day.